This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Your RV guide for Oklahoma and beyond. Give us a call at 918-460-KRMG. Now, let's hit the road.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Camping with Wade's RV. This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Skyler Cooper with you on this Saturday afternoon, joined by Willy D live from Wade's RV. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's a great day here at Wade's RV. It's always fun out here on the weekend. So I always look forward to the Friday, Saturday kind of rush. It seems like everyone kind of gets off work. Everyone's in vacation mode and just ready to go out and really get out and go camping, use their RV or get it ready to go out on their trip either, next week or in the coming weeks, or they're taking it out this weekend. So it's a great day out here, and I'm actually sitting in one of our used units. One thing that we brag about here at Wade's RV is how we have a lot of units that are plugged in. And so that means two things. It's going to be lit up and it's also going to be cooled off. So I'm sitting up front right whenever you pull into Wade's RV. I'm in the Tuscany. I believe this is a 2018 Tuscany. It's a 45-footer, so it's got a nice length on it, and it's got a great floor plan, bath and a half, full residential fridge, full residential microwave. And whenever you're out camping, I would consider this more of a glamper. You have an induction stovetop, and you even have a dishwasher. So this thing is loaded up with features, and it can be yours. It is for sale. So if you want to come out and look at it, come on out. I got the AC set at about 67 degrees, so it's about perfect for me, and it's going to make sure that you're nice and cool because it is a little bit of a warm day out there, Skyler.
Man, that was so much fun last week when we broadcast inside the New Air. So I know you probably kicked up in style in the Tuscany, and that it really does make for a great place to lounge too, even if you're not going somewhere. If I had that sitting outside, I'd probably go hang out there just to have my man cave or my alone time too. It's not a bad place to do that.
It's not a bad place. Sometimes, a little secret here. Sometimes during the week when it's a little slower, I actually come out, might have lunch. They do have tables out here, and that way you're not all crammed up in the lunchroom or, just sitting in your car. It makes for a pretty cool little environment. And yeah, you're right. I am actually kicked up. My feet are kicked up in the theater seating. I'm sitting across from this big, it's probably 52 inches at least, this big old TV right across from me. So I am nice and comfortable and kicking back in style. I love it.
So speaking of last week, it sounds like you guys had a really good time with the Blue Star Mothers drive that we talked about on the show. How'd that all turn out?
So the supply drive went great last week. And, I'm really just thankful for everyone that came out, including you, Skyler. Thank you for coming out and doing the radio show. You're kind of a little bit of a local celebrity around town. So we got some good attention with that. And then our very own Fox 23, they actually came out twice and did two different stories. So we're really thankful for those folks for coming on out and spreading the word. We're raising support for the Blue Star Mothers, and we got lots of supplies. We got lots of monetary donations, and it was just a really great success. A lot of folks came out. They got to meet the mothers, learn a little bit more about the cause. I think a few people even joined the Blue Star Mothers after hearing about it. Nice. And all of what they do. And so that was really, really cool. There was tons of donations. So I think we filled up 3 or 4 different cars, if I'm not mistaken. They just kept going in and in and in. And we just kind of kept filling them to the top. And so it was a really cool experience overall. And don't forget, if you are just now hearing about it, or let's say you didn't get quite on up to Wade's RV, you can still donate supplies to your local Blue Star Mothers chapter. Our local one, actually, I believe is Sapulpa, but we've just been connected with the Broken Arrow Blue Star Mothers for a couple years now. So we've been hanging out with them. And so if you do have supplies, they are always in need. Go on by and drop some of that off, and it's really going to help our troops overseas, and they help them out here at home too with our veterans and stuff. So we're really thankful for everything that they do out in the community, and it was really great to have them out here. I always enjoy spending my time with them. They're a great group of ladies, and they're just really trying to help people. It's really awesome. And here at Wade's RV, we're really known for giving back to the community, and it's just one of those that we were doing to give back. And thank you if you came out and bought an RV, because a portion of that sale went to the mothers. And so that's been really, really awesome. And we had a great week, and I'm just thankful for everyone that came out.
Yeah, you guys are it's a big thing for you to have those partnerships. And I know that you have partnered up with someone new, kind of a different take on the RV world. And it sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. I know people who would want to do this.
Yeah. So one of our new partnerships, we have lots of different partnerships because, it's kind of like what we talk about with the Wade's RV family. We meet people and we like to be around them, and we like to make them part of what we do, and we want to help them and they help us. And so it's kind of a big roundabout circle, and so it makes it really handy. But I've been partnered up with the Queen Bee of RVs, is what she calls herself. But Miss Brenda Puckett, she's really, really awesome, and she's part of the Sisters on the Fly. And so if you haven't heard of the Sisters on the Fly movement, it's a group of female campers. So it's a no boys allowed club. so I'm not allowed to go and hang out with them. But it's a really cool group, and so they get out and they go. It's kind of like a man cave or guys group whenever you go out for your man weekend. Well, they're having sister weekends, and so they bring out their RVs, and a lot of them are smaller ones. Some of them have motorhomes, some of them even have big 45 footers. So it's really cool because it gets people from all different walks of life. And so we're partnering with her, and we're going to start doing some camper colleges so we can start educating people, not necessarily just ladies, but since she is associated with it, it does make it kind of go hand in hand. But we're going to start doing camper colleges out here at Wade's RV, and I'm working on getting a date hammered down so we can get that on the calendar. And what that's going to entail is we're going to teach you everything about an RV. So whenever you're purchasing an RV, we give you a full walk around demo. And so you're going to be able to see everything from the front of your RV to the back of your RV and every switch in between of how to operate it. But many times when people are looking at RVs, they want to learn, hey, what are these different types? How do you empty your sewer tank? Should I go propane or should I go electric? I'm in this Tuscany and it's a 100% electric coach. And so we're going to go through and we're going to talk about exactly what that means, how the system operates, and answer any questions that anyone might have. I know whenever I first started RVing, I've been camping since I was a little kid, but I had lots of questions because there was just so many different things that I didn't know about. And so that's really cool. And another thing that Brenda does is she actually does RV inspections. And so here at Wade's RV, we brag about our used selection of RVs because it's clean, it's quality, and it's priced right. And another feature is the stuff needs to work. And so what Brenda's job is she goes around either to private sellers or dealerships, and she inspects these RVs to make sure they are all that they are supposed to be for these different customers that are either out of town or they're, just too busy with work and they can't necessarily get there to put their good eye on it. She goes out there and she does that for them. And so it's a really, really cool service. And she's a level 2 inspector. I've heard about these inspectors, but she goes out there and she helps folks with that. And so we're really excited with that partnership. I'm sure we'll work out some sort of deal where they get a special discount. That's one thing that we always like to do. And so it's just really exciting. And it's just going to be getting more people out camping and getting involved in the RV community because it's a lifestyle. Whenever you start RVing, it very much takes a part of your life because you're going to be out there camping and then you come back and you get your RV all packed up and ready to go. And then usually you're planning your next camping trip. And so you're researching and packing and all that sort of different stuff. So it's just really exciting to get these new faces and new people into this camping club and into Wade's RV to really experience what the difference is.
That does sound like a lot of fun. We'll be following for updates from Wade's RV. This is Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper along with Willy D. And we blew right through the front of the show, Willy D. We just got to talking about that Tuscany that you're sitting in. We forgot to tell everybody how to reach you and where to find you. So you said you're sitting at the front of the lot, but what if they need to know how to get there?
So if you need to know how to get here, it's really easy. We're right off of Highway 75 at 161st. You cannot miss us. And we're actually just right outside of Glenpool. And that's, if you don't know where Glenpool is, it's about 5 minutes south of Tulsa Hills. So just keep on Highway 75 and keep on trucking and you'll be able to find us real easy. We've got RVs right down the front of the highway. And one thing that's cool is they are plugged in and they are lit up for you. So if you want to come on out here, it's a little warm, but I got RVs that are cooled off for you so you can really enjoy your shopping experience, and give us a call at 918-291-1011.
Need to take a break. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. This is 102.3 KRMG. When we come back, we want to learn a little bit more about restoring RVs. I've seen a few people that I follow on Instagram, Willy D, who do this as a hobby. They'll buy an old junker camper and they'll start to fix it up. Now, it's something you guys know quite a lot about and do quite a bit of. So we'll talk about that when we return on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Camping with Wade's RV every Saturday at noon on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Welcome back. It's Camping with Wade's RV. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Happy Saturday afternoon. Skyler Cooper along with Willy D, who is out at Wade's RV today. I'm back in the studio. I missed the luxurious broadcast studios of the new air that we were in last week. That was a lot of fun. And if you want to see what we're talking about, go to our Instagram at KRMG Tulsa. We did a little tour of that thing. Never have I been more comfortable while doing a radio show. And I'm here in the studio today, but Willy D, you're still living it up. You're in a Tuscany this time?
I am in one of our used Tuscanys, and so someone traded this in, I believe. And so I'm out here really enjoying my lifestyle. At Wade's RV, I'm always living in luxury. I mean, we got the best of the best out here. It's really, really cool. And so I've got the ACs kicked on. I quite literally am reclined back in a chair, and I'm watching these customers come in, and a couple different people are actually out on the lot right now taking a look at units. And I'm just, just enjoying myself, and I love it. So I can't necessarily all complain about not being in the studio, because these are pretty cool rigs, and it just kind of gives us an opportunity to talk about what we're broadcasting in, and kind of, tell people, hey, you could have this for yourself, and this is, some of the features. One thing we did not talk about earlier, we talked about the TV and the dishwasher and the residential fridge. This one actually has an overhead bunk, and for a diesel pusher, that is very rare. Here's a little bit of a RV Pro one-on-one, I don't know, pro tip, or just a little bit of knowledge. Thor is the only one that puts an overhead bunk in their diesel pushers, and so at least currently being manufactured. And so that's one thing that's really cool, is it gives you a little bit extra sleeping space, and it's powered too. And so you're not going to pinch your fingers or have to pull out any beds. You just click a button and it comes right on down. So if you do have an extra guest with you, it makes it super handy, because you click a button, throw in the ladder, and you're set. And then if you already have the bed made, it just goes right back on up. You don't actually even have to make it. So I would be a big fan of that, because I hate making my bed. So that's just one of those other features that this unit has. And it's just a really, really sharp piece. It's got the dark cabinetry and a little bit of kind of a khaki leather with all the furniture. And it's got really comfortable seats up front that actually swivel around so you can enjoy the living room. And it's equipped with the AquaHot system. So I was referencing the all electric, and this has the AquaHot, which means it basically has a diesel burner in here, and so it will actually heat up your water, it'll heat up your coach, and it actually heats up the floor as well. So it's really, really cool. This thing has so many features, and if you're looking for a really nice motorhome, we got it out here.
That is a used unit. And a little bit later on the show, we're going to talk about Wade's RV buying your RV. So if you want to upgrade, how that works. I also want to tell you a little bit about, this is something that I'm going to learn. This is one of those shows I'm going to learn on, Willy D, which is most weeks. We'll talk about the difference in pulling a gooseneck versus a fifth wheel. I thought it was the same thing. We'll learn about that a little bit later. Also on choosing the right camper for you. But first, let's talk about restoring RVs. I mentioned before the break that I've followed some people who have purchased them, and just for the sole purpose of going outside on the weekends and at night and restoring it, doing the upholstery, updating cabinets, and doing that sort of thing, which sounds like a fun project. But if someone wants to skip the hard work and they want that throwback feel, they should just watch your website, because I know you guys get some in like that every once in a while, and then they're sometimes already done, or you guys can fix them up too.
Yeah, so if you have an older camper, or if you're just shopping around for an older one and you want to get it restored, we do it. So I used to watch a lot of those different car restoration shows, and then there was different ones that restored different, family heirlooms and treasures or different metal pieces. And I just always thought that was really cool. But at Wade's RV, we do full remodels. We can do full restos. I mean, it's really, really cool of what we can do. And this week we actually had someone drop off a 1950s Terry, and these things are just little short single axle units, and it actually used to be her father's. And so they used to go out camping in it all the time and stuff, and just years of not use, it just kind of sat there. And if you don't use them and you don't properly maintain your seals, just like anything else, it will decay. And so there was a little bit of work that needed to be done, but she still wanted to have that old vintage feel. So she brought it up to Wade's RV, and we've started getting to work on it. And it's just a really cool unit. Those girls over there at the 121st store actually are the ones that have their hands on it. And so they gave me a call and they said, hey, Willy, you got to check this out. And they know I love making videos. And so whenever we get cool pieces like this, great example, we had the Kenny Rogers tour bus a couple weeks ago. And so I did a nice little walk around video of that, kind of telling people about it, because I think it's cool. And I want to share all the cool things that we're doing here at Wade's RV with you guys. And so they called me so I could start making a video on it. And so yesterday I went over there and I kind of did the beforehand. And so I kind of did a little promo talking about, hey, at Wade's RV, we do this sort of stuff. So if you have an old unit that's, close to near and dear to your heart, maybe a family heirloom, or one that you just purchased, and you found it and you just like the style and you like that old feel, we can bring it back to life. We can either update it with modern appliances and amenities, or we can make it look just like it did back in the day. And so what this customer did, she took out all the upholstery. She's actually having that redone right now. And then she wants us to go through all the systems, make sure they're working properly, go through. There was a little bit of water damage, so we're going to have to repair a little bit of the wood structure with it. But we're going to go through, and whenever this thing is done, it's going to look basically like it was back in 1950. So really excited about what's going to happen with that. And I'm going to be taking videos of the middle process and then also the end, so we can kind of do, hopefully, I'm planning on doing a big reveal for the customer. So I'm going to try, at Wade's RV, we like to do it big. So I'm going to see if I can do, maybe a big reveal where I have a tarp and, maybe a crane or something to lift it off. I don't know, something really cool just to make this a little bit more of a special experience for our customers, because that's what we're about, is going that extra mile, quite literally, and helping our customers out. I go out and I pick up units all the time. because sometimes it's inconvenient, or, we're humans. We do make mistakes every once in a while. And so sometimes it just makes it just a little bit better of an experience if we go ahead and go pick that unit up for customers, or even I go out and I troubleshoot with customers. Sometimes there's some weird problems with RVs because at the factory, it got pushed through the line and maybe just something was overlooked. I'm really just excited about seeing where this carry is going to come and where it's going to go. And we do this sort of thing all the time. If you have an extreme repair that someone has told you, no, we cannot fix, bring it up to Wade's RV, because I'm going to knock on wood. And I've never seen Wade turn down a job. I've seen him do some wild repair jobs before. We have all the tools to be able to take out slides. We can actually lift these things up in the air and do chassis work. We work on that stuff every single day because we're a trusted dealer. We actually know what we're doing, and we got the tools and the people and the facilities to handle that for you. So bring it on your RVs, and we are ready to work on them. We're working as fast as we can. We actually have 2 service locations. So we're going to get you in and we're going to get you out just as fast as you can so you can get back out camping.
The sound of those restorations and the reveal you want to do, I'm thinking about the old overhauling show. Would you say
yes? Would
you say Wade Reeves is the Chip Foose of Glenpool?
I would say that, absolutely. Not to put Chip Foose underneath the table, but he's redoing some 45. He's doing some big monsters. Those cars, they're a little smaller, and there's a dime a dozen out there. But with these RVs, they're definitely one of a kind. And so it takes a lot of skill. I have worked at other RV dealerships, and I asked to swap a couch, and they looked at me like I was crazy, and they would not do it. Here at Wade's RV, we are not scared. If you actually are looking for RV furniture, we have that too. We have a little bit of everything. And so if you need a new couch or you need a new recliner, we got it. Come on up here to Wade's RV, and we'll take you to what we call the toy box. That's where Wade keeps all of his toys. And also we have some of that furniture back there. And so we can get you fixed up because we have all of that stuff. Many times whenever you go to an RV dealership and you're needing to get something fixed, you're waiting because they don't actually have the parts on site. And so we're kind of like O'Reilly's, where we got it all sitting on the shelves. Every once in a while, we do have to order, some specialty parts. But if you're talking about everyday repairs like hot water heaters or, just simple fixes, we got all that stuff, and we can get you in and out in no time.
This is Camping with Wade's RV. We'll be right back on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Camping with Wade's RV. You're on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Glad to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon. Skyler Cooper here live from the KRMG studios. Willy D live from a really nice camper. You know what? That's probably a curse word, isn't it? I'm still learning, Willy D, and sometimes you don't want to call the nice things campers. You're in a big diesel pusher, aren't you?
I am, and I guess I get kind of caught up on it as well because I just call everything RVs. I mean, they're all recreational vehicles. That always keeps you safe. But if you wanted to be fancy, kind of like Target, this is called a motor coach. Coach. So if you got a customer, let's go look at your coach. It's like having a yacht and not a boat, that sort of deal. But yeah, you can get real technical real quick with that sort of stuff.
So he's out there at the lot 161st and Highway 75 where you'll find Wade's RV, or give him a call, 918-291-1011. Before the break, we were talking about the restorations that you guys are capable of doing there, which is a really cool idea. If someone wants to keep what they've got and just make it nice again, Wade's willing to give it a shot and go for it. And a lot of the reason he's so confident in that is not only the skills of himself and the people that work there, but also just the setup that he has acquired over the years with all of the different tools, the shops. And I drove around the back last week when I was there. I've never driven around that way, but I got stuck. I'd pulled my KRMG car through the little gate, and then when it was time to leave, I was kind of stuck because people were looking at stuff. So I went around, and it's so expansive. You don't always see it from the road or from the front, but there's so much room there and so many cool things around.
Oh, yeah. I think we have a total of about 80 acres here at Wade's RV. And so it's 80 to 100. So we have quite a bit of space out here, and it really allows us to serve you the best way possible. And you're right. We do have the tools and we do have the facilities, and that doesn't really necessarily just stop at the shop. We change tires. We have those lifts where we can lift up the coaches up into the air. We can do all that stuff. I picked up a coach yesterday that it was a Integra Accolade, and we were doing a paint repair to it. And so I went and picked it up from the paint and body shop with Wade, and we got that back here so the customers could get moving into it. But those tools, they don't necessarily just stop at the shop. They actually go into the store, because everything that we do at Wade's RV, I was having a discussion with someone about this. We do everything to the best ability that we can. It's not like you get 100% with service, maybe 90% with sales, and then 10% parts. Everything kind of works as its own division, and that allows everyone to, for one, report to one man, Wade. And so he always has his eye on things and make sure everything is running up to his standard, because we have a very high standard here at Wade's RV. And we just got finished with our finance office as part of one of the expansions that we had. And I'm really excited for the folks that we have back there, Andy, Doug, and Shelly. They have their own little zone, basically. And I'm kind of jealous because I kind of got my little office and stuff, but they have the exit that I always used to go out of. So I'm very used to going outside right where they're at. And so I go back and visit them quite a bit, and they are just doing a great job. Andy and Doug and Shelly, they just started with us not too long ago, and they just have really become part of this team. And that's part of why we're always trying to improve at Wade's RV, is because those folks back there, they're looking for something special. You hear finance and business, and most of the time I think, just signing on the line, this, that, and the other, shotgunning your credit, just like if you're going to a car dealership, and that's not the case. Whenever you go back to this finance office, for one, Miss Shelley is about the happiest person you could ever meet. And so she's usually sitting right there to kind of greet you and stuff. And then also with that as well, you have Doug and Andy back there, and there are finance managers. And so they are focused on getting you the best rate and finding the best bank that pairs with you. And so whenever you're buying an RV, sometimes this can be a 10, 12, 20-year note that you're carrying. And so you want to make sure that you're pairing up and partnering with the right people. And so whenever they're looking for that, they have your best interest in mind, because it's not Wade's RV financing, it's going through a bank. And so we actually get better deals and better rates. I used to work at TTCU, and whenever I came over to the RV world, I was like, what? We get a better rate than what you can get at the actual location. And that's exactly right, because we're doing more RV loans that way. And so if you think about how many are going through a normal branch every day, there's not 10, 20 RVs going through there every day. We're here at Wade's RV, we are doing that. And so those banks give us a special rate. And so they're helping you pair up in there. And if you do find a better rate, bring it to them, because they want to make sure that it's not just a rate right here and now. It's actually something for the life of that loan. And they want to make sure that you're being protected overall. So they handle all of that. And they also handle our warranty information as well. So it's really handy.
Now, along those lines, the people that are outside and they're going to greet you when you come up, they're the ones that really, they're like the front lines, right? Someone like me comes in and doesn't know the first thing that they're looking for, and they're calling coaches campers, and they want to know what they want to buy. So how do you start with someone? I mean, obviously there's a budget conversation. There's what kind of vehicle do you have conversation, where are you going? A lot of things to consider.
Oh, there's tons of things to consider. Right whenever you walk into Wade's RV, for one, you see Miss Stephanie. I mean, she is super bright and smiling right whenever you walk in the door. And so she's there to greet you. And then after that, you're going to get paired up with who you need, either service, parts, or sales. And so whenever, you're talking about sales, like you said, there's a whole lot of different questions that need to be asked, basically. And so whenever I start with someone, I ask them some very, very basic things, like, where are you going? Who do you plan on taking with you? When are you going to go? What are you going to be taking with you, as in, transporting vehicles, things like that. All of those things come into deciding what camper is going to be best for you. And so here is a great example. I had some folks and they were asking me, hey, should we get a camper with bunk beds because we're bringing the grandkids? And I said, how often are they going to come? Well, once or twice a year. And I said, then no, do not get those bunk beds for those grandkids. And here is why. Because the rest of the 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, it's going to be y'all. And you were just taking up, like a fourth of your camper with those bunk beds, when in reality, your dinette booth and then your couch you're going to pull out to make great beds. And then if you're like my grandparents said, well, when you're an adult, you can get a camper. And I just went and slept outside. And so we always pitched a tent and that sort of stuff. But you got to think about, your time usage with it. If it's just going to be you, husband and wife, or just, some friends, then it's going to be a totally different situation. You might want 2 recliners in the back. If you're like me and you're always bringing your friends with you, then you have to have a bunkhouse that has a full bunk room in the back and then has tons of sleeping conversion areas, because that's the most important thing. Is we are mainly just sleeping in there. We're not necessarily hanging out. So how you're going to use your camper and who you're going to bring is a huge, huge deal. And there's lots of different things that you can find out whenever you do go through those questions. So many times whenever I'm talking to people, they, I'm a big horse guy. And so they'll bring up that they have horses and this, that, and the other. And I, bring up the fact, hey, you got this horse trailer or stock trailer you're not using. So you're going to have to bring your RV and you're going to have to bring that trailer with. Why don't you just get a toy hauler and put in a stable boy conversion? And then you're knocking out, 2 birds with one stone. And so many times. You
saying people can convert a toy hauler and put their horses in it?
They absolutely can. So they make a conversion called the stable boy.
That's awesome.
And you can actually put horses in the back of your toy hauler. you're only going to be able to put about 2 horses back there whenever you get all your equipment, all of that stuff installed. But it's a really great option for folks that do like equine, they do like RVing. And then the great thing is it comes in and out. I think the installation is like 10 minutes. It's it's very, very easy to install and very easy to take out. So let's say you want to take your 4-wheelers or your razors and stuff like that. You could absolutely do that super, super easy. And it just makes for a really smooth transition. So whenever you ask those questions, sometimes you can discover things, just like I was saying with that you just weren't even aware of before. And so that's why you come and see the experts at Wade's RV, because we're going to guide you to the best camper and give you a couple different options based on what you're doing, where you're going, and who you're bringing with you. We're going to help guide you through that crazy, decision-making process of looking at RVs. I always do it like house hunters. And so you come in my office, kind of tell me what you're looking at and that sort of stuff. And then we'll look on the computer. And because sometimes people can just look at something and say, I don't want, that's just, why waste the time? And so we're just going to go ahead and look at it, see what you think about it. And if you like it, cool, we'll put that on the list. Cool, we'll put that on the list. And we go out and we'll look at a whole bunch of different RVs. I always bring a jump box with me so you can see all the lights and things, because they are just so pretty. With all these LED lights, I mean, they just pop and they shimmer and they shine. It is just incredible. And so I always bring that. And then we kind of narrow it down. So let's say we went and looked at 5 and you liked, these 2 or 3. Well, then we're going to kind of jump back and then we're going to talk about, pros and cons. And I camp a lot. And if you haven't been camping a lot, it's kind of like, I'm kind of like that conscience on your shoulder that you didn't quite know you had. I'm going to tell you what you need to look out for. Hey, well, this is really great with this one, but this one over here has that. And then, you can kind of give it as an A and B comparison and see what's going to work best for you and your camping experience, because I'm not going to be the one pulling that camper. I'm not going to be the one camping with you. You know how you're going to do that. Me, I don't really ever cook inside my camper. So that's not really a big thing for me. Yeah, I do know a lot about the kitchen areas, but a lot of times people camp or they cook only in their kitchen. They don't cook outside because they are traveling around, and this is really a home on wheels for them. They're not necessarily sitting out there grilling hot dogs every day. Well, we can talk about that and make sure that you find the right camper, because it's very easy. You might look at a camper and be like, oh yeah, I love the floor plan, but does it have a stove? Well, guess what? This Tuscany I'm in, it does not have a stove. It does not. But it does have a convection microwave. And so that kind of substitutes for that oven or that stove area. And so with that, we just want to kind of guide you and make sure that you find the right unit for yourself.
Need to take a break here. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. We'll wrap it up when we get back, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the differences. If you want to take the quiz with me, gooseneck versus fifth wheel, travel trailer, and fifth wheel, all the different names. Of course, I already called a coach an RV or a camper, so I'm going to mess it up. But try it with me when we come back from this break. It's 102.3 KRMG.
You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
Welcome back. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Skyler Cooper at the KRMG studios with Willy D, who's at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. You can also find them at 121st and Highway 75, and that's where the heavy lifting happens, Willy D, right? That's where the big lifts are, and if you need service done, that's the place.
Yeah, if you need some service done, the girls at 121st, they can absolutely take care of you. I just stopped by there yesterday and kind of checked in on them. Like I said, I was picking up a nice unit that just got out of paint bay. And so Casey and Jen and Amanda, they'll take really great care of you. And that is where we do the heavy lifting. And when we're talking about heavy lifting, we're talking about those big tour buses, that you see going down the road. I can lift that up. Well, not me, but the lifts can lift that up. And we can actually lift it up where we can do chassis work. And it's kind of scary, but it's really cool. You can actually walk all the way underneath them. And so it's a really cool thing that we have over there at the other store. And come on out and see us. We're going to be out here until 5 p.m. today. I'm out here at 161st sitting in this beautiful Tuscany. So you can come on out here and see this great unit. Come on out and see me and meet the guys. And guess what you're also going to see? Wade. Wade is here every single day. And so that's one thing that really makes Wade's RV different, is the owner is actually here, and he's actually working in the shop. He's working out outside. A lot of times he's actually working the gravel and stuff. So he's not afraid to get his hands dirty, and neither are we. So we're here to help you and make sure you can find the right camper or get your camper fixed. I mean, that's what we're here for. And we also have parts and storage, so don't forget about those two great things.
And we've been talking a lot about back to school in the last couple of weeks because it's all so weird this year. It's time to take me to school, and let's talk about some differences in the different types. I'm still trying to work on classes B and C. I've got A down, but I'm working on all that stuff and just learning all the different the terminology, the vernacular of the RV world. And one of them that I just grew up sort of interchanging, foolishly probably, interchanging the terms gooseneck and fifth wheel. Let's talk about pulling those and how they're different. But first of all, what's the difference?
So they are the same, but they're different. And so whenever we're talking about fifth wheels, you can convert a fifth wheel to a gooseneck, but you can't convert a gooseneck to a fifth wheel, if that makes sense. And the reason why is because whenever you're talking about a gooseneck, literally, it's kind of like a goose's neck. It's that long, skinny tube that kind of comes over and it comes down. And so that's actually going to connect to a ball in the back of your bed. Whenever we're talking about fifth wheels, that's more of a hookup, kind of like a semi truck, where you have that, it's kind of a puck, and then it slides into a plate, and then it clasps around that. And so that's what's going to lock it into place. Whenever you have that gooseneck and you convert it over on a fifth wheel, many times, a lot of people could do it used, and that's really not a problem necessarily. But if you go ahead and do that conversion on a brand new one, you can actually void your warranty. So you want to make sure and you watch out for that. Many times, because people are used to carrying stock trailers and stuff like that down the road, they just go ahead and do a gooseneck conversion because, for one, it's less expensive than getting a fifth wheel hitch installed in the back of your truck. But the number two is just easy, and they're already comfortable with hooking it up and that sort of thing. So if you are looking at, getting a fifth wheel and you're thinking, hey, do I want to go ahead and convert that to a gooseneck? Ask yourself, is it new or is it used? And then also look at the cost, because it's really not that much more expensive to get a fifth wheel hitch put in there. And then overall, I think you're going to be safer and you're going to have a much smoother ride going down the road overall. So it's just a totally different towing experience. It's kind of like going from travel trailer to fifth wheel. I mean, it really makes that big of a difference.
Okay, I know this one. Travel trailer is a bumper pull.
Yes, you got that. Travel trailer is a bumper pull. So it hooks on the back of, either your Tahoe or your truck. And even sometimes people pull them with vans. I'm a van guy myself, so I have been known to pull a travel trailer around every once in a while with my van.
That sounds good. I'm glad I just at least got one right today. That'll work. I'll take the easy answer. An A for effort, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely passed with us. But one thing that I did want to talk about is I want to talk about how if you have an RV, I want to buy it. So let's say you got an RV that's been sitting around. It may be old. It may be somewhat newer. Maybe you inherited it. Maybe you got an RV and your job changed, so you're not using it the same way. If you have an RV and you're making payments on it, bring it up to me, because I want to buy it or I want to put it on consignment. And here's why. I've had a lot of new inventory coming onto the lot. And so people are buying that. But with RVing being such a surge, people are also buying all of my used products. And so at Wade's RV, we like to have a very large selection and a large variety. So we're paying more than we ever had for used units. And we're also, paying you more for your consignment units than we ever had as well. And so what that works with consignments is usually we look up your book value and then we agree on a number within there. Now you're able to get even thousands more than what you were a couple months ago just due to this surge. So if you have an RV and you're not using it, bring it on in, because we want to buy it, or, trade it in for something else. We got trucks, we got boats out here. Let's say you got an RV and you want a boat. Guess what? I took in and trade, a boat in on trade. So you can actually trade your RV in for that boat. It's a really cool process. And so that brings up as well, if you have something that you want to trade, you're not using it, like I said, a boat, jet ski, maybe you got a horse trailer, we take just about anything on trade. There was a time at Wade's RV where Wade actually took in 33 head of cows, if I'm not mistaken that. So he's traded for just about everything under the sun. So if you have something and it does have a value and you want an RV, bring it on into Wade's RV. We take in cars, trucks, boats. I really don't know anything that we don't take in on trade. So give us a call if you have any questions about that. The phone number is 918-291-1011, and we'll be happy to see exactly what that value is. And we'd love to get you out into that camping lifestyle. It's something that's different, and it's something that's great, something I have been able to do since I was about 6 or 7 years old. I've been RVing that long, and for me, it really is a lifestyle and something that's changed my life. Because whenever you go out RVing, you meet great people and you get to see a lot of, it's not necessarily about the destination, it's about the journey. Whenever you are going RVing, you're going to the coolest places in Oklahoma and just all around America. And so that's really cool. But also, whenever you're going down the road, you can see lots of cool different landmarks. You just get to see the coolest different things. And like I said, meeting the cool people. I love whenever I'm out on the road. Cracker Barrel always has RV and big truck parking. But I like stopping at little diners and just kind of seeing what they're either burger or, little Mexican food joints. I love just trying different things and just seeing what each little town has to offer whenever you get there and while you're going down the road. So it's just a really cool experience that if you need to get into or you're wanting to get into, give us a call, because we want to help you with it, whether it's, finding out what the right financial path is or just finding out which RV fits you best. That's what we're here for at Wade's RV.
They can find you there, 161st on Highway 75 or 918-291-1011. We'll talk to you next week, Willy D. They can also find you online, Facebook and YouTube and everything, right?
Yeah, so like we were talking about with the restoration of RVs or different fixes on RVs. I carry a camera around with me just about everywhere. And so if you want to see exactly what happens at Wade's RV or kind of see what we're about, get on the YouTube, get on our Instagram, and get on our Facebook page, because we post all of it there. And that way you can share what we're doing here. You know, a lot of people are still inside and not able to get out. So you can kind of live through us a little bit and kind of see those different parks and those different places and really get that camping bug. That's what it's all about. So you can check it out and follow along with our adventures. And there's even a couple episodes of when we were back in the studio, me and you, Skyler, doing the radio show. So you can go back there and listen to those as well. And like I said, come on out and see us at Wade's RV. We're open until 5 this evening. And you can always give us a call at 918-291-1011.
This is Camping with Wade's RV. We'll talk to you next Saturday at noon on 102.3 KRMG.